Alrighty, so I got a request to show the teams that I use for my demons and sort of just like an updated demon team for some of the different demons that you could fight. Of course, there are 5 different ones if you don't know: Red, Gray, Howlex, and then you have OG Demon, and Bellmoth. I already have these 2 summoned because I was going to do them for my dailies this morning, but I figured I would go ahead and just go ahead and record this video and everything. So yeah, I'll try to show some maybe like alternatives that you could use. Typically, when I do mine, I think I've talked about this in a video not too long ago, but I'll typically just use Gon's AI just because I have him on my friends list, so I'll just invite him. Obviously, your experience may vary because of your teammate and everything. When you use an AI, it's going to use all 3 of their cards first, but I actually did change this one just the other day. Normally, it looks like this, and then I had Thonar in the back, but because he's already running Thonar in the back for his team, which is this right here, I figured it would be better for me to just get rid of Thonar. The only reason I'm keeping Derriere on here is because I do have her costume set. This is the Valentine's Day Derriere costume set. So obtain 1 random costume enhancement material box when clearing deathmatch. Just kind of nice to have. You can do it up to 6 times, but I typically only do it for Bellmoth just because I was using her as my main DPS anyway. But the idea here is that I'm just using Liz to level up my cards and stuff like that at the beginning. He actually is running Zenari, and luckily the bot is smart enough to use the cleanse at the very beginning, so then I can rank up everybody's cards. He'll use 2 level 2 cards first, and then going forward, if he still has any decent cards left, he'll use level 3s because I ranked him up. But Escanor is just really good DPS, of course, if you have the LR variant, of course. The only downside is that Cruel Sun isn't going to be able to hit, because if you don't know, Bellmoth only takes damage from melee or like close quarters cards, whatever you call them, melee cards, I guess. You can't use ranged cards against Bellmoth. They miss every single time. So Derriere is really nice for that because you can use both of her cards. She has like an Ult Rush card as well, kind of like the one that Escanor has. So it can kind of work out either way. I would say if you're going to substitute anybody, of course, because it's Bellmoth on Hell difficulty, you have to either use light or dark characters because they bypass the mechanic, or you have to use green characters because you have to use type advantage. Some noteworthy alternatives: I have used Festival Zeldris before, but he kind of falls into the same category as Escanor, where one of his cards is not going to do any damage, so not particularly worth using unless you just want maybe some style points. I do actually really like Zaratros for this fight. Zaratros is kind of nice, and Ghislaine is also a really good option, as well as Green Brunhild can be okay. For cleansers, we do officially have 2 cleansers now. You don't necessarily have to use Zenari. She is a Valentine's Day exclusive character, so if you don't have her and you somehow do have this green Elat also has a cleanse at level 2, which you'll immediately get because you rank up with Liz, and because of her passive, you'll actually give Liz a little bit more stats. So that can be kind of nice. You can use hers as an alternative cleanser. Just know that if you're going to be the one cleansing, you want to have Thonar in the back, so that way you can actually pop the passive, because if you don't know, Thonar gives you attack and attack-related stats. So, yeah, this is the team that I normally use. I try to make sure that I do either Bellmoth and OG Demon or just OG Demon every single day, because I'm at the point where all of my characters are level 90 plus, so I'm trying to just get everybody to level 100 at this point. So I just try to do these every day because these are the ones that I actually need. I haven't done Red, Gray, or Howlex Demon in probably several months at this point, and I every once in a while I might accidentally summon one or something like that for like a quest or something, or some sort of mission that I needed, but overall I don't typically use it a whole lot. So in this scenario, you want to rank up. I could just go ahead and push Escanor's ultimate, but I think instead I'm going to move this and use this. That will kill, because I do have Liz's Holy Relic, which is going to give you an extra attack increase. If I'm not mistaken, I think it's a 50% increase, so it is going to actually overwrite the one that you get from Thonar, because it's technically more. But altogether, I actually don't think it makes that big of a difference. But you want to make sure that you're using that double slash card, whatever it's called, because that's the one that actually gives you extra ultimate move gauge. Because it's just easier to sort of ult rush and everything. I know Escanor's card is going to do a lot of damage regardless. I actually don't know if that is going to kill. Escanor's kind of a wild card when it comes to that. I can probably kill if I use the other cards, but I can also get the ultimate on Liz. It's kind of a weird thing playing with a bot sometimes. I think I'm just going to use all 3 of these, because that's going to give me Liz's ultimate. Not that it really matters. Sometimes he actually ends up getting Escanor's ultimate, and because the bot is always going to use cards before you, he's basically going to be guaranteed to kill anyway. So yeah, that did end up killing. So even if I used the Escanor card there, I wasn't going to gain any ultimate move gauge from it, and it would have wasted it, so it felt better not to use that there. Because I did use those cards, I'm going to go ahead and draw her ultimate. Not that I think I'm really going to need it, but he's going to miss with this. I think I'm just going to use this, and then I actually can't use any of these cards to deal damage, but I should have more than enough damage here on the field anyway. So, yeah, I don't know. That's kind of how I've been doing it. Obviously, if you have an actual teammate, you can coordinate a lot better. You can actually rank up at the beginning instead of, you know, your teammate using level 2 cards and stuff like that, but I don't know. I very rarely, unless there's just like really bad RNG, I very rarely actually like lose or like mess up the mechanics of any of these fights with AI. But like I said, it's a little bit of you know, a skewed outlook considering I'm playing with a bot that has 17 million box CC. So that is typically how Bellmoth goes for me. If we swap over here to the OG Demon, OG Demon is a lot. He can be a lot more like finicky when it comes to his actual mechanics, because he's a little bit more specific. He has a lot of damage caps built in on phase 1 and 3. He also has an immortality built into, or not immortality, he has an invincibility built into phase 2 if you get him below 10% HP and you don't kill. And then also in the beginning of phase 2, you cannot actually deal damage with ranged cards. So the first like 10% of his HP, you have to hit him with a melee card, which can be good or bad. Typically for OG Demon, this is the setup that I run. Obviously, if you don't have Kizuna, you can either run just like another buffer, or you could potentially just run another DPS, because he is actually running Deanne, who's going to rank all of his cards up to level 2, and then he's also going to rank up because he has Gother on his team. I don't have to worry about having anything less than level 3 cards at the very beginning of the match anyway. He's using Lostvayne as his main DPS. I also prefer Lostvayne at this point. You can use a couple of different characters. I think the old strat used to be, I don't know, I've seen people use Red Escanor. I don't really recommend that. He's not like super good. I've actually seen people use Rudius and it works out pretty well. I don't really see a whole lot of variety. Freyr is also a really good extra character. Like if you don't have Kizuna and you want to run an extra DPS, Freyr can be a really good option there. Instead of LR Lostvayne, if you have Trader Meliodas, who was given out for free not too long ago, he's also a decent option for this, mainly because this team is very buff heavy. Like this whole setup is very buff heavy, so you can use that instead if you want to sort of just get a lot of use out of his Amplifying card. I really like to use this this Valentine's Day Elaine for this fight. You can obviously use like Ragnarok Bond since he's red, but Valentine's Day Elaine is going to make your buffs basically have a little bit more efficiency. Like I think you get 50% extra stats or whatever from buffs, if I'm not mistaken. Or I can't remember the exact wording on it, but it just makes buffs better by like 50% of what they normally do. So that's obviously really good considering we're boosting basic stats and stuff from Deanne's passive. We're getting debuff immunity, which obviously can't make that any better, but we're also getting attack-related stats because of Kizuna. The only thing here that can be maybe a little RNG is Kizuna's passive with the attack-related stats only works for 2 turns. So one of the things that I like to do here is move a card and use this, and then typically I don't use a whole lot of other stuff, so I'll just go ahead and merge whatever card I get an extra one of. Because he ranks up there, and because we've already ranked up at the beginning of the turn, it is going to give us Kizuna's passive, so we gain, I think it's 20% attack-related stats, if I'm not mistaken. He's going to hit damage cap with both of his cards. He does it every time. And then I'm just going to finish off the rest of the health bar with Lostvayne. I always move a card with Lostvayne and then use that unless I draw extras, because I try to go for a setup where I can get Lostvayne's ultimate in the final phase. So He's actually going to kill here. This first card is going to miss because, like I said, you have for the first 10% you have to use a ranged card. So this is actually going to miss. He's going to use this. It's going to get him down probably 30%, maybe 40% because his Deanne is pretty built. And then even with a level 1, he would kill with Lost Vein because his Lost Vein is ridiculous. And just LR Lost Vein in general does a lot of damage. So because I already know that I'm going to waste any card that I use here regardless, typically I will just refresh the buff if I really want to. I can get rid of this because it's a level 1 card, and then I'll probably just get rid of this because the Amplify card with DN typically does more damage, and if possible, I want to try to beat it as fast as possible. So I'm just going to try to use the highest damaging cards that I can. Every once in a while, I'll get kind of lucky, and in Phase 3, he'll get like another rank up or something. If he does end up ranking up, he'll actually refresh Kizana's buff. If not, I did pull an extra Kizana card, so I could attack with Kizana first. That way it ranks up her card, and then we actually get a refreshed buff. I actually got really lucky here, so now I can just do this. That's going to merge and refresh the attack-related stats, and then I can just go ahead and use these Lost Vein cards. Typically, attacking with the same character over and over again is not really preferred, just because he's going to lower your stats every time you attack with a character. So if you attack like 3 times with the same character over and over again, you'll typically lose enough stats where it actually can kind of make a difference, but Lost Vein does have a lot of stats. We did get the attack-related stat increase there on the last phase, which is kind of hit or miss, and so it was going to be pretty easy for me to kill there, plus the cards that he was using. Sometimes it gets to the final phase, his character only uses like a bunch of like really bad cards or like merges, or just uses like Gother's attack card, which is not going to do a lot of damage in general. But yeah, that is typically how the OG demon from me goes. I'm going to have to summon a red, gray, and Howlex demon really quickly. You can obviously do that, you know, specifically if you have the New Year's character outfits and the characters that they go with. So if we look at the boss battle section, if I go to one of these and then I use, I think I have a team for it. Yeah, this one right here. This costume on New Year's Meliodas is going to guarantee a Howlex Demon, and then there's also one for Jericho and one for an Elizabeth, if I'm not mistaken. Actually, I think it's the the New Year's Elizabeth as well. I might not actually have that outfit enabled, so I might have to mess with that really quickly. But either way, I'm going to summon these 3 demons really quickly, and then I'll look at these. I don't play these a whole lot, so my teams probably aren't going to be the most up-to-date, but I can probably mess with them a little bit on the fly. And they're normally really easy at this point anyway, because the game has just power crept so hard. But yeah, let me summon these. Alrighty, so here we are on Red Demon. It looks like this was the team that I was using before, which actually isn't a terrible team. I think traditionally, because light and dark characters kind of came out and sort of changed up the whole way that you have to look at these with Hell difficulty, like I don't necessarily have to use blue units here. And because Roxy is such a good unit, I can literally just like hit, you know, a huge amount of damage, and if it doesn't kill, it'll also get a little bit of pop damage as well. I think in this scenario, honestly, like you can use LR Margaret if you really want to for just like extra damage. I think beforehand people were using the, some people, not a whole lot of people were using the, I think it's Valentine's Day Elaine. Yeah, it's this one right here. No, it's Halloween Elaine. She actually has a buff card as well. People would typically just use a buff card at the very beginning and then just DPS really heavy. You could use the regular, the one Escanor here if you really wanted to for damage-wise. Obviously, because light and dark characters work, you could use, you know, Dark Meliodas. The new God Meliodas actually works out pretty well here, and I mean, you can even use Albedo if you have her. There's a lot of actually decent characters that just deal a lot of damage because this character, like this is the first demon you unlock, he's really weak. I've seen people use Eren Yeager here. Actually deals some pretty good damage. He actually would get a little bit more use out of Roxy's passive as well, so I might actually throw him on because I don't really think I'm going to need to buff anyway. And then specifically, I am using Jenna in the back because she has another one of these costume sets where it's going to give me a specific costume enhancement material right here. So I think I do have a bunch of food for these old ones because I never do them, so I might as well throw it on if I'm just going to go ahead and already fight this. I'm not going to summon an AI or a partner or anything because these fights are really easy anyway, and the AI is probably going to kill it with his first 3 cards, so I'll just go ahead and see how well I can do on solo. which shouldn't be a big deal. Obviously, if you're a newer player, you know, you're probably going to want to summon somebody just to make things a little bit quicker for yourself. And if you don't have, like, insanely, like, high-leveled characters and stuff, obviously, you know, do your thing. But we're just going to throw these out. I think that should be more than enough. Aaron should do some pretty decent damage here. Yeah, okay. So these two are going to kill. I went ahead and wasted the AoE because I figured that card would probably do the least. I can probably get away with just using the Escanor cards for phase 2. Since it has 3 phases, I can just use that merged Flood card from Roxy to finish the last phase here. So I do actually pull an extra one of these. I'm just going to use that first to see if it'll just wipe the entire phase out, because, I mean, like I said, Red Demon, very old. Okay, actually didn't do nearly as much as I was expecting. Okay, I actually am not going to kill here. I was way overconfident in myself. I wonder if I even have the right set on Escanor, actually. I probably don't, because I use LR Escanor way more. So he's probably either on, like, HP defense, or he might even not have like the right gear set on if I've messed with any of the other Escanors enough. So, you know, that's maybe a little bit of a miss on my end. I should be able to kill with Aaron, though. Kind of embarrassing not being able to 3-turn this with as good off as my account is. Yeah, I think with as much damage as Aaron's doing, I really don't think Escanor has his gear on. So I think that's my biggest issue here. I do get a level 3 Flood card with Roxy, though, so this should absolutely annihilate this. Plus I have ultimates in hand, which is cool as well. Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, just any strong blue character probably going to absolutely annihilate this guy. If you want to use like a Demon Team, because Demon King himself is a dark unit, you could throw him on. Estarossa is blue, so you could throw him on, and you could throw on the new melee if you wanted to, and just have like an insanely strong Demon Team to just fight him and kill him really easily. These are really nice. Actually surprised I got so many of those. But let's hop back over to Gray Demon. Alrighty, so I am apparently using Green Freya, which I actually think makes pretty decent sense. I think I'm going to throw Gother on here instead. Gother's passive is not going to work. Actually, is it? No, she's an unknown character, so it's not going to work. But I just need to make sure that I'm not breaking the Liz passive here. I actually can't inspect her here, if I'm not mistaken. Can I look up Liz right here? I think I can. Yeah, her passive is... I just need them to all be green units. Okay, so that actually works. So, idea here, obviously kind of the same as Bellmoth in the sense that I'm going to be ranking up all of my cards to level 2s right at the beginning. Then I am going to rank up with Gother to have all level 3 cards. Typically, if you want to run this with a partner, you can run like a one DPS character, or like one team with DPS units, one team with like kind of support units. I did used to see a lot of teams running like Hellbrum, like I had a second ago, on one team, or even Green Gill Thunder, because they have, I think their attack-related stat increases, so you can rank up all of the cards and stuff, throw on a really nice attack or like a stat increase, and then just obliterate the enemy. But I think Green Freya is probably the newest character that has 2 ranged cards. The thing with this fight is that Liz is not going to be able to do anything unless we actually put Grey Demon into his like downed state, which I think on phase 1 happens every couple of turns, and then on phase 2 he has like a shield sort of bar that if we end up knocking all of that out, it'll put him on the ground the next turn. But you used to just use the old school Festival Merlin, like the Lolly Merlin on this, because she had a really good strong Power Strike card, and you could, if you had the right buffs and stuff on, you could absolutely one-shot this boss. Oh, there she is right there. But yeah, you could use this Power Strike card because you could level it up to level 3, use an attack-related stat buff or whatever, and then just absolutely one-shot the boss. I don't necessarily think that there's a whole lot of great characters for this, because a lot of characters use either melee cards or like they only have one melee card or whatever. I think the only reason I'm using Freya in this scenario is because she's a strong character, and you can actually get some decent use out of her. So I'm going to go ahead and throw the attack-related stats on really quickly. I know that that's on because of Nidhogg, but it doesn't really matter. I don't even have my gear on for her. I have it on her for some reason, so... that's funny, because in Bellmoth I've been using the wrong gear for probably who knows how long, a couple of days if I had to guess. Let me throw on the Grey Demon food, and then we will hop into this thing. I think it should be pretty simple, pretty self-explanatory. Because I'm going to have level 3 cards, it should go pretty smooth, I hope. I don't know, being by myself and relying on just Freya's cards, I might not actually one-shot both of these phases, like with one card or anything. So we're going to have to see how that goes, but I figure, you know, we'll just do it solo, because why not? Ooh, okay. Absolutely perfect. We do pull an extra card. Like I said, I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to kill in one card here. I don't want to waste extra Freya cards if I don't have to. So we're going to do this. How much is this actually going to do? Okay, so that actually works out. And because I have 2 of these, I'm fairly confident we can kill second phase. But like I said, on the first phase, he has like that gray buff on, where I think after a couple of turns, he'll like stand up on the ground. He won't be flying, and then you can use melee cards on him. But yeah, for this, I think I'm just going to use this as a merge. He does have an HP related stats, which makes him a little bit tankier here. I don't think we kill. Yeah, so we're just shy. But because we broke his little shield bar at the very bottom here, he's actually going to slump down onto the ground. He gets stunned for the turn, so he's not actually going to attack us or anything. And then we can just use these other Freya cards that we have to go ahead and kill. So that works out. Obviously, if you have a partner, specifically, you know, if you're running somebody who has like a buffer or something like that, should increase your either attack or attack-related stats depending on the units that you're using, and then you can do more damage, and you should be able to one-shot, hopefully, you know, if you have strong enough units, all in one phase, which would be obviously ideal if you're just trying to go for, like, you know, speed, which I imagine you probably are. There's not really any reason to do these slower unless you just really want to take your time and try to pull off like a weird team combo for like huge damage numbers or something. But you know, sometimes that can be fun too. But moving on to Howlex, I am using Trader Melly here. Because I have Deanne on and she increases basic stats at the very beginning, I assume the reason I'm using him is just because he has a really good Amplify card. Problem with this one is he has 3 phases, so I almost want to run... Like, I could get easy level 3s here, but I almost want to run a second DPS instead, just for the solo, but I think I should be fine if I had to guess. Let me just make sure that, yeah, I was about to run this with bad gear on, and that would have obviously slowed me down quite a bit. I think everybody else is okay-ish. Let me throw these on, and then... It doesn't really matter what her gear is in the back. I do have the card set for all of the demons. I think I forgot to talk about that, but I am running the card set for Howlex Gray, Red, Bellmoth, OG. All of them have their card sets or whatever, but obviously that's just going to take a lot of time. As you fight the bosses and stuff like that, you'll eventually drop their cards and stuff. Can take a long time sometimes. It took me forever to get the OG demon card, and now that I have pulled it, I pull it like... every couple of days. It's really weird how that always ends up working out. But alternative units for this one, Derriere used to be like the strat. I don't really think that that's a great strat anymore as far as your main DPS goes, because Derriere's passive, the whole point of using it was to you were just basically trying to make sure that you used at least one Derriere card every turn, so that way you could keep her buffs up, and then eventually at the very end you would if I would have known that, I would have used one of these Gother cards, but at the very end, you just use Derriere's ultimate, because it's got... actually, I don't even remember. Does her ultimate have Amplify on it? I don't remember if it does. I think it does, but either way. Yeah, you basically just power up a whole bunch of debuffs and stuff like that. I think that's going to be more than enough, so we'll get rid of those. Because this, boom, bam. Okay, not as much as I was maybe expecting. Luckily, I do kill with Gother. I think on the last phase, he becomes a bit more tanky. I'm not 100% sure. It's been a while since I've done these, but yeah, I think it's these buffs that he has on right here. He has Malice Defense, Malice Attack. Increases attack-related stats by 2% when attacked. Increases defense-related stats by 2% when attacked. Okay, so he doesn't necessarily have, like, extra... whatchamacallit? He doesn't necessarily have like a bunch of extra stats or anything. I think he's just got more HP on this phase, so it's typically harder to kill in one go. If I had more like buffs, or if I was using like a teammate where I was using more single targets or something like that, I could have potentially gotten more damage out of the Amplify there and been fine, but I don't think it's going to be a huge deal. With that amount of HP left, all of these cards should kill. But yeah, that is basically what I'm using. The brand also can be really annoying just because it removes all of your buffs, which is kind of counterintuitive. Like, it used to be really annoying back in the day because you would be using Derriere, you'd get to the very last phase, you'd have a whole bunch of buffs on your character, and then if you didn't kill in phase 1, he would brand you, and then you would lose all of the work that you put in to get all of those buffs, which was really annoying. But I mean, obviously any good like red DPS will do. I think they've given out this Summer Deanne several times. Use her if at all possible, just because you're going to get basic stats, which is great. You're going to increase your card ranks. You get debuff immunity, which is also great. It's just really easy to get like high level cards and stuff in a lot of these fights. The only one that you really can't do that with is Blue Demon, or Red Demon, because you have to use blue units. There's no blue rank up Gother. I don't think, there's no blue rank up character. Like, you have green red-haired Liz to rank up cards in the green ones. You have, Summer Deanne to rank up your cards in the red ones, but Red Demon's so easy anyway. It's not like it really, really matters, but I guess that's pretty much it. I don't know if you have any questions, feel free to ask. If you have any alternative teams or anything you think are kind of fun, or like units that you like to use instead of some of the ones that I showed off, or like characters that you get more use out of, or whatever, feel free to comment those down below. I'm sure if any like newer players like maybe don't have some of the characters that I showed off, you might be able to help them out with some of the teams that you use, or like whatever works for you. So that is pretty much it for me. I don't know, kind of a weird sort of like video, but hey, honestly, I appreciate the request. It's kind of fun messing around with some of this stuff sometimes, and PvE videos are really nice to make because I don't have to worry about like bots and stuff in PvP and blah blah blah. There's a lot of weird things that go into making certain types of videos, but either way, thanks so much for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Feel free to subscribe if you haven't already. Like I said, share me some of your teams that you use down below, and who knows, maybe I'll swap to those because sometimes you guys use the most efficient stuff and I just am unaware of it. But either way, have a great day.